Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Denny Keltz again with Top Dog Sales Training. I brought a top dog over to show you guys a few things. So Carlos has actually been Kaizen Automotive's corporate sales trainer for an extended period of time. And we actually have over 17 dealerships, some in US and Canada. And Carlos is the corporate trainer for that. So we're going to go over a couple different things. So him and I are just going to kind of go back and forth. And
Yeah, first, thanks for having me.
My man.
Awesome. Yeah.
Good to have you.
All right.
Okay. So the first thing here is how to consult like a top dog salesman, okay? And why it's so important. So that's why I got my man Carlos here, because he teaches everybody else. He helps teach our team. So let's go through a couple things here, Carlos.
Yeah, first thing is even talking about consult, right? One of the biggest things that we have to talk about with salespeople all the time is this understanding of you are consulting. You're not just taking an order. We've heard it all the time. Don't be an order taker. But what does that actually mean? That means we're sitting there and we're allowing our customer to dictate what's going on, which should never be happening.
Yeah.
We're the car salesmen. We're the professionals. We know more than they do. Our job is to get the information we need in order to make a recommendation.
100%.
Okay. So this is why we are now making consultations as top dog salespeople. We're not doing guest sheets. We're not doing interviews. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So importance of asking questions. One of the biggest things that happens in a consultation is we rush through it. You know, how many times have you seen a guy walk somebody over to their desk 2 seconds later, they're already grabbing keys from someone.
All the time.
Right?
All
They're just going to go show them a car. How could we possibly know what's the right thing unless we're asking a lot of questions? Now, the idea of question asking also is we're not just asking anything. We have to understand a few things, because as we understand that, we now know how and what recommendation to make. If we're going to make a good recommendation, we put ourselves in a better position to get yeses. Okay?
I like that.
We all like yeses.
Yes.
Yeses
100%.
makes us happy and puts money in our pocket.
That's right.
Okay. So now it's like, okay, obviously we're going to ask some questions. So what do I ask about? And we talk a lot of the times, one of the most important things to ask about is previous purchase. Okay. And I have a lot of people crossing off, you know what, Carlos, they're not trading stuff in, so I don't need to find out.
Yeah.
But really, when I'm asking about somebody's previous purchase, I'm getting an understanding of a couple things. One, how do they make purchasing decisions? Number two, what have they done in the past? Are they doing the same thing, or are they doing something different? Right? If all of a sudden we find somebody who's changing their habit, they bought a used vehicle, and then another used vehicle, and then another used vehicle. Now they're over here, Country Hills Hyundai, buying a brand new vehicle. Well, we got to find out why they've all of a sudden made the switch.
Yeah.
And when I find out those little things, they become leverage, power in my hands in order to make the right recommendation, in order to get better closes, get more yeses. So
makes sense.
Understanding what people have done in the past helps us understand what they're going to do in the future. And if they make any changes, then we have to figure out why. So previous purchase. Okay. The other big one I always get all the time. You ever heard that objection? I need to think it over. I don't make rush decisions.
All the time.
You know, I got to go talk to this, that person, or the other person. Consult with my best friend's neighbor's dog because they're the guru, right?
Yeah.
Well, this all stems from somebody trying to tell me that they're making a quick decision right now.
Yeah.
So if I ask about what research they have done, if I ask about all the time they spent at home clicking buttons on their computers, looking up stuff, comparing things, because that's what we all do, right?
Yep.
You spend $10 these days even on Amazon, you're checking the reviews, you're going through 15 different things to see which one's the best deal.
That's true.
So how much more are you doing that with a vehicle, right? So I start asking you about all the research you've done, all the vehicles you've compared, right? Good questions like, hey, what have you been comparing? Why have you been comparing those? And I find out these details. Well, when you try and tell me, Carlos, I need to think about it, it's very easy for me to say, Danny, what more is there to think about? Right? You've already done all this research. You've already spent all this time, just like you told me. So what exactly is it that you feel like you're rushing into? Okay. One of the last areas that we talk about when it's good for asking questions, and where I'm going to ask a lot more questions, is this idea of life with your vehicle. If I can understand how somebody utilizes their vehicle right now, whether it be for work, whether it be outside of work, something as simple as when somebody says to me, hey, we're commuting, right? I've heard that a million times. Yeah. Commuting. It's my guys write down they're commuting. A simple follow-up question for that is something as easy as, what does your commute look like?
Yeah.
How long is your commute? Right? Someone like myself who's always driving on the highway, or for us down there in the US on the freeway, right? That's a different looking commute than somebody who's driving through the city.
Yeah.
So I might have different needs and wants and things that I see value in when it comes to the way that I drive if I'm on the highway compared to if I'm just driving through the street.
Very true.
The idea behind this as well is, yes, I'm going to make a recommendation, okay? Now, we're not in control of a lot of things when it comes to pricing and when it comes to what vehicles we have on there. But the one thing that we are in huge control is how I present vehicles. The other aspect of doing a consultation is me understanding, right? If I'm talking with my man Denny here, then as I ask him more questions, I understand how he sees value. If I understand how he sees value, man, I can show off that vehicle the way that he needs to show it off, so he's going to spend more money, okay? So this idea right here, where we're talking about more than just the surface, this is where you have salespeople all the time. You get an answer and it sounds right? Hey, why are you upgrading your vehicle today? Or why are we changing your vehicle? And my man goes, yeah, I'm upgrading.
Yeah.
Or I want something newer. And it makes sense. He's driving something from 2010. Of course he wants something newer. But our brains, for us top dogs, we're going to get triggered going, wait, I need to ask more than just the surface. I'm going to dig a level deeper. Hey, when you say old, how old is too old? Right? When you have a 2010, when did you get it? Right? These are the questions that we're going to ask to find out that extra little bit to get understanding of where his head's at, how he makes decisions, where he sees value. Okay? We need to lead the show. This is a big one, guys. When we're talking about a consultation, man, we've heard it before, right? My customer doesn't want to do this. My customer doesn't want to do that. They only want to look at this. Well, guess what? When you go to a dentist, you don't tell the dentist what to do. When you walk into a doctor's office, you don't tell the doctor what to do. You go pay $400 for a lawyer not to tell them what to do. Okay? We are just as good as any one of them. In fact, we are better.
Exactly.
Because we have to work harder in order to get the success that we're looking for. We don't just go to school. Right? Well, we go to our top dog training school. That's what we do, right?
That's right.
Our school is out grinding and working hard. So we lead the show. There's not a single person in here. They might know more specs about a car. They might know more about torque, but they don't know how to sell a car. They don't know how to recommend a car. They don't know our inventory the way that we do. So we lead the show. We're here to get information from them to show them what's going to be the best thing for them. Okay? Do not let your customer dictate what you do. Okay? And the biggest thing that we talk about, because how many times has a salesperson said, Denny, I need to get better at objection handling. I need to get better at closing. I need to get better at overcoming objections, right?
All the time.
Well, here we go. Objection handling happens right here. Because when I find out all this information and you try and give me an objection, well, I have everything to fall back on. And all the training that you guys are going to get with Denny on this Top Dog Salesman training and all the words and all the phrases and all the ways to handle stuff, it becomes more powerful when I've already had conversations with you. When I found out what your commute looks like, when I find out why you're changing your vehicle right now, not just because you want an upgrade, but you got a new promotion at work and you're making more money. It's finally time to treat yourself. Well, now when I say time's to move forward, right, because you're holding on an objection, that becomes more powerful, right? So we talk about the closing happening right now, even though it's not like we're necessarily asking closing questions, or it's not like I'm making sure that, hey, by the end of the day, if we do something right, we're not going to do that kind of closing right now. But the more I find out about you, now when I hit you with my objection handling, it becomes more powerful because I actually have dug deep into what you had to say.
So it's almost like we've already overcome all the objections before we even get to presenting the numbers. Is that kind of how it works, Carlos?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
In fact, you're almost making your customer overcome the objection for you.
Ah, I see.
And even when we talk about value, right? Closing happens. How do we close? Well, we provide value and then people don't want to say no. So for example, if I were to dig a little bit deeper and you tell me, hey, the reason I'm buying my vehicle right now is because I got a promotion. I've always wanted to treat myself.
Yeah.
You're telling me why you're buying. You're closing yourself, right? You get customers who are out of town customers and they come in and I say something as simple as, how come you decided to come to us? Well, because you're the #1 dealership in Canada. That's why. I'm closing myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You even get somebody who drives across the city. We live in Calgary. We understand what it's like.
Yeah.
It's not the most fun, but all of a sudden, some comes from all the way down southwest over to the northeast, and I say something as simple as, "What made you decide to come here?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, as soon as you give me an answer, now you're closing yourself.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
This is where the time happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob, my man here,
Yeah.
came early. That's
We
good.
got people coming.
Yeah.
We got people coming for some top dog training.
Yeah,
as
they're
soon as
actually
they
coming in
possibly can.
early. I like that. I like that because we have a meeting coming up here. And my man Carlos is going to be running the show a little bit as well, helping me out with that.
Yes, sir.
So, as a quick rundown, basically what Carlos said, he is telling you how important it is to ask the right questions. It's not just about asking questions, it's about asking the right questions that'll set you up to close more sales and make more money, right? And that's the whole point. That's the whole reason why we're doing Top Dog sales training. And that's because we want everybody, the more money you make, the happier you're going to be, okay? So we got to get you guys on the right path. So thank you, Carlos. Appreciate you. If there's anything, last few things you want to go through on this before we move on here, let me know.
No, yeah, just a quick rundown. Just keep things in mind. Ask good questions. Go practice. You're going to be doing all this Top Dog training. There's going to be lots of different videos. There's going to be things you're going to be working on. So go and figure out those questions. Go practice those questions. Go implement those questions. Go be prepared. The more prepared you are, the better you are going to be when you're in front of a customer. And keep things in mind. You're a top dog. There's a reason you're a top dog. So you lead the show. You take control. You don't let your customer dictate what's going on. And you make sure to get your customer to close themselves and tell you the value and do those things for you. So always dig that one step deeper, right? When you hear something that sounds like it's a good answer and a regular salesperson would accept it, well, you're top dog. So you go ask 3-4 more questions.
Exactly.
Right?
Sounds like we're the professionals here and people are coming into our house. So don't forget that, okay?
Yeah.
Top Dog sales training. Hit the subscribe button. If you guys got some value out of this video, thanks again to Carlos coming here. I'm going to bring him on for some more videos. So hit subscribe.